Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Yay! Woo! Hi, everybody. It's that bitch who never celebrates Halloween and is mean to little kids.
And I'm a hex girl, and I'm going to put a spell on you. Mason.
And you know it's good when you hear, right?
Topany. Wow, back to Thailand. It's been a minute.
Yes, it has. It's been a long minute. But we're back with the original Raikon Topany when it comes to what we're used to. And we're talking about SOTUS.
Yay. Finally, we've talked about it since like Jump when we started this, but we've never reviewed it.
No, we have not. And it's odd that we haven't ever reviewed it because we've gone back and we've reviewed some of our favorite stuff. Like we went back and did He's Coming to Me. We went back and did Tharn Type. Like we've gone back and done shows, but this is one of those shows that like always gets mentioned in the periphery of the Boys Love universe because it really and truly is kind of a landmark series. You know, if you think about it really clearly in terms of like where BL is now, SOTUS was really the start of that like hype beast train for BL because I mean at the time, from what I understand, GMMTV was a struggling network, and when you watch the show, you can tell because production value it's bad. But Singto and Chris went on to become this huge juggernaut of like shipping. They got all these product endorsements. They ended up starting kind of a model of development, if you will, for GMMTV. And since then, they've gone on to have the Kiss Me series, the Together With Me series. They've had the Together series. Like there's so many things that they've done since this time. And so it is something that deserves to be talked about because you really don't know BL unless you know kind of where GMMTV kind of got their template for BL. And when I say template, I mean that in terms of like every which way that BL goes, whether you have super interesting portrayals like Dark Blue Kiss, or you have fucking burn it to the ground train wrecks like Tonon Chonlepi. It starts here.
Yes. It's very interesting to go back and rewatch this after the boom that BL has had since it's come out. It was weird because I forgot that this was probably the first GMMTV show that I saw. My first Boys Love was Love by Chance, which I don't think was GMMTV. That was Wabi Sabi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this show has literally everyone, besides like Win and Bright, basically, almost everyone that you've seen in a GMMTV Boys Love since.
Yeah, like if there was a 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon, you could do like a 3 degrees to SOTUS, and everyone on the BL spectrum would be here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because it's like if they weren't in the newest series, they were in maybe a middle of the road series, and so that's the connection. So like you have Off in this series. Off on to be a part of a huge pairing with Off Gun. So that's another big one. You have New in here who's part of Dark Blue Kiss. And so that's another one. Like it just goes, even Top Tap was in Together. There's your link right there. So I mean, it is literally kind of the genesis of the GMM BL empire.
Yeah. But does it hold up? Well, I guess we should start talking about that, huh?
Okay, so Mason, synopsis, please.
Well, if you haven't seen it, which I really do think you should, it is about Kong Pab, who is a first-year engineering student at university. And like all good engineering schools, they have a hazing team. The hazing team is run by Artit, and they are honestly very abusive. And it's basically an enemies to lovers, as Kong Pab is this feisty freshman fighting back against his oppressive upperclassmen.
Yes. And it is literally enemies to lovers. If there's no friendship, it goes from like, I hate your guts, you're so fucking mean, to I just want to crawl into your skin and be you.
Yeah. There really is never a friendship step.
Never.
If they're not fighting, they're eye fucking. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. So so has this show held up? I'm not going to stretch this out to the end. No, it has not. Let's just be quite frank. This show has not held up. I have a lot more fond thoughts about this show in my memory than actually watching it. And we'll get into a lot of the ways where this show hasn't held up. And then we'll talk a lot about the things that have held up. We'll talk about the things that were good from it. But overall, no, this show is not nearly as good as I remember it being. But Mason and I had a discussion about that. And it's not just this show that is the reason why SOTUS has such a fond spot in our hearts. It was also what SOTUS did that is something that they do in Boys Love Now when a show is super popular that made it kind of burrow its way into our hearts. And that is the series follow-up. GMMTV, I will tell you, they might not get it right the first time, but they will absolutely crawl through your Twitter feed and figure out what you did and didn't like. And they're coming back for a season 2.
Except for with Together.
I feel like Together season 2, while it had a lot of things that we didn't want, once we saw other season 2s, GMMTV kept their crown as the best season 2 people.
No, you're right. I forgot that Tharn Type and Love by Chance had season 2s last year. Honestly, those were some dark ages. I try to forget. it's the reason I smoke.
Speaking of smoke, I forgot that Colourpop smoked. I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
Cigarettes?
I forgot about that too. Wad was like lighting up one episode and Colourpop's like, here, use mine. And I was like, you have one?
Yeah, why do you have a lighter? And then they showed him smoking a cigarette. And I'm like, what the hell? Not our baby Colourpop.
Mm-hmm. I love that it's also a very blurred out cigarette.
Yes.
It's not even lightly blurred. I mean, it is blurred into oblivion.
Yeah, it's basically like, is he holding a cigarette or a bat? We don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, like GMMTV, because of the demand for SOTUS being so high, they gave us a second season, SOTUS S, and then they gave us like a single runoff kind of epilogue called Our Sky.
Our Sky. I went back and watched Our Sky this morning because I was like, that was because SOTUS is great purely to get to Our Sky. It's such a good episode. It's such an emotional roller coaster. I actually cried watching it this morning.
Oh gosh. But that's something that GMMTV does. Mm-hmm. Like they really do a good follow-up on a lot of their stuff. Like an example is the Kiss series. The first Kiss series was actually like pretty much straight. And then they introduced Pete and Cal as a love line, and they ended the Kiss series with Dark Blue Kiss, which arguably is the strongest entry into the Kiss series.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
It reminds me of like how Marvel, and like it's popular in superhero movies that like it's really hard to nail an origin story. But once you get the origin story, usually like sequels to superhero films tend to end up doing a lot better because the groundwork is there. Like Thor 3 is the best Thor by far because the groundwork from 1 and 2 are there.
Yeah, and I mean, the same could be said for Captain America. A lot of people say Captain America gets better as it goes. I'll be honest with you guys, the only Marvel film that I have ever watched is Black Panther.
You haven't seen any other Marvel movie?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I see why people like them. I think the recent crop has been better. Like Shang-Chi is good. I think you should watch Shang-Chi. It's a very enjoyable film.
I tried to watch Iron Man like way a long time ago. And I found the first 15 minutes to be boring, so I turned it off.
Damn, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of movies that I turn off if they're boring, that other people are like, you should have stayed. It was wonderful. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I actually asked for my money back at the movie theater. And I gave that movie an hour. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. I don't want to sit around watching Leonardo DiCaprio reminisce about being a big movie star. And Brad Pitt looks old and leathery. I want to go.
I really liked that movie. I thought the pacing was nice. Like it was just shot so beautifully.
I thought
Um,
that movie sucked, and I thought it was lousy, and I thought Quentin Tarantino does need to retire because this is some bullshit. I mean, let's just,
no.
I know we're kind of getting off of SOTUS here, but I'm just going to say this one definitive thing. I think that Quentin Tarantino should have stopped making movies after Kill Bill 2.
What was after Kill Bill 2? Hateful Eight. Hateful Eight was not my favorite, but I liked Once Upon a Time.
Django.
I've never seen Django.
Django is a good slavery revenge story, but it's so graphically violent that it's really hard to watch it without some of that trauma porn element. So yeah, Kill Bill. Kill Bill's the best. And then after that, he could have hung it up. He was never going to do any better.
It doesn't mean he has to hang it up.
It's my opinion. It's my opinion.
The
But anyway,
girls' generation have hung it up after Genie. That's their best song. Should they have hung it up? What world would this be if we didn't have an all night, a You Think, I Got a Boy?
we wouldn't have a lion heart.
Okay, one not maybe as great song in a sea of plenty of great songs is still worth it. Also, Lionheart's still good. There's an appeal there.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I just, back to SOTUS. So SOTUS, king of the sequel, every product that came out after SOTUS just was better and better and better. And that's something that GMMTV tends to be pretty decent at. And so it was nice to like kind of see where it started and the lessons that I believe GMMTV have learned since SOTUS. It was good to see the growth. But this show has got problems. And I think we should dive into those problems before we start talking about where they've grown and the positive things, because I think it's better to end on a positive than end on a negative. So
That's fair. I also think people want to hear the takedown first. Like that's what they want.
yeah. So let's start with the first takedown. I hate the trope. I'm not gay. I just like this man.
It hurts my soul. It hurts me in my spirit. I hate that scene in the last episode. Well, I guess second to last, because there's like episode 14. At the end where Emma's like, damn, Kong Pop, I've known you for 4 years and I didn't know you were into dick. And he was like, I'm not, I'm just into art. And I'm like, you're gay. That TikTok sound.
You eat dick. Get over it.
Yeah.
You know, and also like, I can understand if he said, I'm not gay, I'm just in love. I could see something like that because maybe he would be saying like, I'm pan, or I don't see myself as gay or straight. I see myself as, you know, I like human beings. I like to fuck. But to say, I just like art, it's not even saying like gay is not a part of my vocabulary. It's like, no, there's only one particular person that sways me away from the life of straighthood. And it's just like, I don't know if you're saying that to like make it seem like if it wasn't for Artit existing, I would be a heterosexual person.
Right?
Like yeah.
They're like, yeah, I'm it's like no homo, but like we do fuck. I do tickle his penis. We did get married. We did have children with a surrogate. And when he died, I was depressed and never remarried. But no homo. It's like,
right. It's like, this makes no sense to me. And I think the thing that's even more frustrating about this is that for so much of the show, Artith was the very reluctant one, and Kongpop was very much like, whenever you're ready, just let me know because I love you. And then when confronted with that, he kind of like leans back into, no, totally straight, bro. I just every once in a while want to dig down this particular guy. Like, come on. Because like you may feel like your emotional attachment to this man means that you're not gay. But when y'all are having sex, y'all are having gay sex. Like straight to the point. That's what it is. Unless one of you identifies as a woman, y'all are having gay sex. So
Yeah. So someone, if I edited, I'd edit in the "you're gay" TikTok sound once again.
yeah. Oh, that is a trope that I hate.
And GMMTV still hasn't learned because Together the series once again, they're not in love. They're both heterosexuals. They just really like each other.
And it's even more weird because there is a moment in the show where Artith has a crisis of sexuality. So a girl comes up to the picnic table that Archit and the other senior engineers are at. And they're like, we have this survey about sexual function we'd like people to fill out. And in that survey, they ask, are you attracted to men or women? And he like makes sure to like put women because he's feeling conflicted because he knows that Kong Pop has a crush on him. And he's kind of debating it himself if he wants to reciprocate this crush.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like at the time that he lets people know that they're dating, Artith never makes the statement, I am straight except for him. This is a statement that Kong Pop makes.
Yeah.
And so it makes Artith's journey almost seem like, it almost seems, I don't have the words for it, but it almost makes it seem like his journey is somehow like trivialized because Kong Pop's like, no, it's just this. There's no wondering about our sexualities or anything else. We don't have to acknowledge that we may be a part of a community that's been oppressed. No, we're just two blokes having a spit and a tickle instead of like being like, I know that part of the reason why it took you so long to accept me is because you had to accept yourself.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, that rubs me the wrong way for real.
Yeah, I wish they went down a slightly different route with that too. I mean, I do find it deeply interesting, like that Artit's character is very, I mean, he's just very angsty. It's like good angsty, right? Because he's very like, oh, my feelings and my sexuality. And Kong Pop is just like, I don't care. And I think it's good to have a character that's like, yeah, I don't care. But I wish they talked about it with each other a bit more.
Yeah, because all this happens. Episode 14 is wild because literally.
And that was a filler episode technically because their book ends at episode 13. So they just like tacked on this like intense finale.
I mean, like episode 14, they go from like kind of on the outs, things unspoken, to all of a sudden, like all of our friends know that we're dating each other and we're riding off into the sunset. Like all of our kisses are in like episode 14. Well, all of our real kisses, because that kiss in episode 13, that's my number 2 of things I don't like about this show. Episode 13 is the episode where Artith decides to kiss Kong Pop to let Kong Pop know that he reciprocates those romantic feelings. And it is the kiss that straight guys give to each other to like joke about being gay.
Yeah.
It is like literally like face smash, get away from each other, and then walk off.
Mm-hmm. I think it was supposed to be romantic with him like grabbing his tie and giving him a smooch, but it was too quick. And like, I feel like they should have lingered, maybe tongued a little bit and then pushed away.
Yeah, there was no lip movement in that kiss.
There was no passion in it.
Yeah, it was just like, come here, you. Like that kind of, not even like a pucker, but just like a, you know, it was so weird. It was, okay, let's talk about GMMTV's kisses for a minute. Because I think that has been a gripe that we've had since the beginning of known history. GMMTV's kisses are so inconsistent. Like you either have a couple who like literally in their series with a bro hug, or you have a couple who are undressed and licking each other's shoulders. And it's just, it's so wild because like, okay, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but Singto is in a series called Friend Zone on GMMTV, where he is in a long-term gay relationship with a man. They have sex with each other. He ends up his boyfriend ends up cheating on him, and in revenge, he cheats on his boyfriend with the man that the boyfriend cheated with. And pretty graphic kissing scenes for both of these
Mhm.
relationships. Compare that to this like face smash thing, and I just have to ask you, MTV, like, if you have actors who are uncomfortable with same-sex intimacy on camera, why do you keep hiring them?
Right?
Like, because
Like,
that's solvable. That's very solvable.
a good example is Z from Why Are You?
Mhm.
I'm gonna assume he seems straight, I guess, but damn, he was making out real hard in that show.
Oh yeah, like Saint was giving him the fuck eyes, and he was giving it right back.
Yeah, we need some Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger type of straight men in gay roles, you know?
Yeah, because I'm not saying that straight men can't occupy these spaces, because to be honest, even though we are in 2021, there are still a lot of actors who don't want to come out because they don't want to lessen their career opportunities. And so
Mhm.
there are a lot of people who publicly facing identify as straight who may not be so in their private life. And if they want
Right.
to play a queer character, I'm not here to force people to give me their sexuality in order to be able to play these roles. I feel differently about trans because trans has nothing to do with your sexual activity. It has to do with your gender identification. But I say all that to say, I don't mind straight men playing gay. I have a real problem with straight men who are uncomfortable playing gay.
I would say I would still prefer. I think there are a lot of gay people that do get skipped over for queer roles for straight people. And I think that shouldn't be the case. But also, I do agree that you shouldn't have to come out to um, experience, like, play a gay character.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mostly agree.
Yeah.
But I do think
I mean,
GMMTV should act. I think that GMMTV is bad because a lot of the BL industry is bad because they do actively try to cast straight people. And I think that's the ugly part. I don't necessarily mind a straight person in a queer role. Well, again, unless they're trans, I think trans people should be playing trans roles. Um, but like Timothy Chalamet in Call Me by Your Name, like whatever, fine. Like he was really good, so I'm not gonna knock him for it. Whatever, you know. But GMMTV actively being like, oh, we don't want actual homos on set.
yeah, stop that bullshit, because there are a lot of really talented gay men in Thai entertainment who have huge followings on social media, but they get no interest from major talent agencies. Hell, this is the thing that I don't understand, and somebody needs to explain it to me. Fluke from Until We Meet Again.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we see him in more stuff now? Everyone and their grandmother can agree that he killed it, but
Yeah.
we don't see him in tons of lead roles right now. Like he's doing feature roles and so much stuff, but he's out. He's not even dating, he's just out. And so of course, he's being maligned and pushed to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And he's somebody that if he wanted to be on GMMTV, he would be amazing on GMMTV because he's got the range.
Yeah.
So,
It's sad to see. You really do hate to see it.
yeah, you absolutely hate to see it. And like, there are people who we both believe are out, but they're not out. And I think they're not out because they know that they would lose it all. I'm talking
Mhm.
about Gun. I'm talking about Gun. Just to be clear, in case anybody's wondering, I'm talking about Gun.
Mhm.
Because, like, I don't know, when was the last time you visited his Instagram? I feel like, I have very weak gaydar because I am a straight woman, but I get the feeling that Gun is like very much like, I'm not hiding it, I'm just not disclosing it.
Listen, I went to his Instagram. I caught a vibe. Baby, are you coming for the ride?
Exactly. And we said the same thing about Saint before Saint came out.
Yeah.
There are certain people that you get that feeling. And then Saint got a lead role in a BL. And then after a little bit of quiet time, came out. And we don't really hear about Saint anymore.
I know. I very much applaud him for coming out. I feel bad that like he keeps landing big shows because I do think he is talented, but man, he just keeps getting like fucked over by the other companies.
Yeah, I can't speak to anything about maybe how Saint is in terms of working with him on set or anything like that. So, I mean, there might be some other stuff going on in the background,
Right.
but yeah, like his career should be huge. He should have a huge career right now, and he doesn't.
It's sad. But
Yeah.
he gets so many sponsorships like on Instagram and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like
Like
he's booked. He's just not booked with like lead acting roles, which is what he should be booked with.
absolutely. So yeah, it's just one of those things where like I get that I get that when you're hiring actors, you really want to hire the person who can do the majority of the things the best.
Hmm.
But like the intimacy and acting in intimate roles is very important. It may not be the majority of the screen time, but when
Hmm.
it comes down to it, it is super important in order to like give people the chemistry that they need to believe that these characters are really invested in each other. And when you hire people who are awkward about intimacy and, kind of feel like, I don't want to do that, it comes across whether you mean it to or not. Prime example, Our Sky. Love Our Sky. It's great. But I don't know if you caught it. The final kiss in Our Sky, when they kiss at the airport, Chris wipes his mouth off after they kiss. And I mean, you're on film. We're filming. It's go
Hmm.
time. Time to take the shot. And after it, on camera, does this number. Come on.
Yeah, maybe he was in character. I don't know. Maybe Singto's just a wet kisser.
I mean, it didn't look particularly wet in my opinion.
It did not.
It looked
It
like
was
a
dry as
kind of
shit.
dry ass kiss.
Well, I think Artit's an interesting case too, because like not only on camera does he seem uncomfortable with the intimate scenes, except for the bridge scene in Our Sky. Like, if you want him to deliver a monologue, there's times he can really deliver. I know you have qualms with his acting, but that bridge on the Our Sky, he did act his ass off there. I hate to say,
Yeah.
he like is like kind of openly homophobic online. It's like
I have notes. Uh,
I remember. Like I remember someone asking him on Instagram, "Are you gay?" on like an Instagram story, and he responds with like "No" in like exclamation points and like angry emojis, and it's like, dude, calm down.
yes, and in my notes, I have that this was his first BL role, and outside of Syncto and the SOTUS universe, Chris has done no BLs, not a single one. Nothing, not even a hint of it. Singto is literally his only one. Meanwhile, Singto, in his list of gay roles, he's done, he's coming to me, Friend Zone 1, Friend Zone 2, You Print. He's currently filming Paint with Love. He was kind of a coded queer in I'm Team Me Too. And he might be doing a show called Baker Boys, which is based on Antique, which is a movie that we review here on the channel. So Singto absolutely has done a lot of BL content. He does not save himself for Chris. But Chris, on the other hand, every single thing he's done outside of Singto has been straight. Every single thing.
Mhm.
Even My Team Me Too, not gay, not gay at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And he doesn't like have to take on queer roles, but I don't know. It's like you're in this big boys' love and you just seem a little homophobic.
yeah, and also like not for nothing. I mean, I won't speak to whether or not Singto is gay. I mean, I get the vibe that he might be pan, but I'm not going to speak to it one way or the other. But Singto obviously realizes that that's what the audience wants to see from him, and he's not trying to like pursue acting as a form of high art. So he gives people what the people want. Whereas Chris no one wants to see Chris in this straight stuff. As far as like the BL people, I never hear about people who are fans of Chris in SOTUS saying, oh yeah, I watched Meant to Be because he was in it. Oh yeah, I watched this other show because I watched One Night Scandal because he was in it, or none of this other stuff, even though I've seen the show that he does. Like I've seen like the ads for it, but yeah, no one is following Chris for that.
Yeah, I wonder what his like popularity like is in Thailand. Because on the BL side, he's known for SOTUS, but you're right, that's it. And that's kind of my only view into like actors in Thailand, honestly.
Yeah,
And that's a very shallow view too.
it is. I mean, we're not going to lie. It's not a great view. But, you know, in terms of these actors, let's be very clear. The reason why we view them this way is because that's how they view us as an audience. When there was that big BL explosion during COVID, that wasn't because all of a sudden every actor was wanting to show that they're LGBTQIA plus friendly. It was because they were looking at how Perth and Saint blew up. They were looking at Singto and Chris. They were looking at Together and how Brighton Wind blew up. And they're like, I want to be the next big thing. I want to get the CF endorsements. I want to do the fan meets where people pay to see me. I want the money. And so all these horrible actors who couldn't act their way out of a paper sack started being the leads on shows because they were pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, if you're going to come at us looking to commercialize on our interest in you and our possible attraction to you, then we're going to literally look at you as just a product because you're looking at us as just revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is how you've established our relationship. And I don't feel bad about some of these people who are very clearly clout and finance chasing entering into the BL space and only paying attention to them in the context of BL.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's, yeah.
Yeah, eat a dick. So another thing I really hate about this show, and I did not notice it until like the rewatch, is how homophobic this show is. And not just Artist and like his kind of gross, or Kong Pob's like I'm only gay for Artist, like peripheral homophobia is in this show. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a scene where Artist at his table with his friends, and one of his friends says something, I don't know what it is, but Off's character says, what are you, a fag or something? And I was just like, I don't remember seeing this scene, or at least like my mind has erased this.
Yeah.
But like, the fuck is this? And
I think I'm okay with it because I think it adds to Artit's character as being someone who is really nervous to come out because his friends are making jokes like that around him.
there's that, and then there's like the one character, the son of the engineering school our pair, I think is how they're pronouncing her name. And people keep saying, oh, you're so beautiful, how come you don't have a boyfriend yet? And she finally just has to say to people, oh, it's because I'm not attracted to men, I like women. And then when she tells it to her friends at the engineering school sleepover, she's like, oh, but I'm not attracted to you girls, as if to say you're safe. What
Uh-huh.
the fuck? You know, none of the straight girls have to tell the men in the room, yeah, I'm attracted to men, but don't worry, you're safe.
I'm going to chalk it up to cultural differences.
I would, except for the fact that it's like that here in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so here in the States, you'll have a lot of people like, oh, you're gay? Yeah, but don't worry, I'm not attracted to you. Okay, well, not every straight person is attracted to every person of the opposite sex either. So, like, do we have to give out a warning to folks saying, you know, caution, I have operating genitals, but don't worry, I'm not going to attack you with them? Like, what the fuck?
Well, a lot of times when you come out, the people like it's okay if you're gay, but like don't fuck me, bro. And it's like, well, I wasn't going to. I think a lot of people do it out of caution because it is common to get that statement back of like, well, I hope you don't have a crush on me.
Yeah, and that's why I bring it to mention in terms of like homophobia, because someone had to write those roles. Those weren't lines that the actors made up on the spot. Somebody wrote that for them. So they wrote it with the idea that our audience needs to understand that this is not a predatory gay person,
Yeah.
as opposed to what stereotype though. And so it's not, some stuff can be seen as maybe overtly homophobic, but other stuff is covertly homophobic. It's setting up the idea that I know you as the audience have the worst opinion about gay people. So I'm going to try to minimize the parts of being gay that you find uncomfortable.
Yes. It's very, what about the children? You can be gay, just don't shove it in my face, that style of homophobia.
Right. Because we have one kind of feminine gay character in the show. It's one of the engineering people who's helping with the moon contest.
Mm-hmm.
And that person is very kind of like, I'm just here to help with costume. I'm just here to help you get into your routine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
very much like, don't be afraid of me. I'm not scary, you know, and it's just, this person isn't attached to any friend groups. This
Yeah.
person isn't a part of the hazing freshman orientation squad. They have this one particular gay accepted role of being the fashion and entertainment coordinator. And again, it's like, because I know that you'll be uncomfortable if like this person's actually embraced by other people on campus, we're going to make sure that we only put them in the place where you expect to find them.
Right.
And I hate that. I really do. And I'm glad that GMMTV has kind of started to change that a little bit. Probably when I think about where they've done that the best, I think about, not to be a not to beat a dead horse, but like, He's Coming to Me, where the character of Ohm and Sancto's character are both established gay men.
Yeah.
And it's not a, oh, I am gay, but only for this person. It's like, no, like that is actually literally my sexual identity, is I am a gay man. Or in Dark Blue Kiss, where you have two gay men navigating a relationship and one of them saying like, I may be gay, but I don't have to get with you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like that is progress, even though it feels like it shouldn't be, it is, because you're allowing, in terms of these characters, is identified as gay, but he's like a basketball playing jock,
Right.
you know. And then you've got Mork in Dark Blue Kiss, who's kind of like, I wouldn't say a thug, but kind of like a wise ass, you know, kind of street kid character.
Yeah.
And so, you know, these are not necessarily what most people would identify when they're going by the stereotypes of what they think a gay man would be. But allowing those characters to exist kind of says, gay people are not your expectation. And I think that's important. And I'm glad that GMMTV has started to do that in some cases.
Yes, I was about to say, I was like, yeah, it feels like they held off on homophobia in a couple shows so they could put it all into Tonhon Cholnati.
Oh, God.
They were like, how much, how homophobic can we get here? Hmm.
Woo-wee. Okay. And then I guess the last thing that I'm going to mention as like a thing that I feel like has not aged well at all, I would say what hasn't aged well to me, and I don't even know really how to like wrap it up into one little sentence, the coldness of Artith towards Kung Pao. I had not realized until this rewatch how long it went on. I didn't realize that like almost literally up until maybe episode 10 or 11, Artith was never kind to Kung Pao in like a lasting way. Like every time he would try to be nice, he'd immediately like follow it up with something mean.
Right. I think like the first genuinely nice thing he did was when they were on the beach and he brought them drinks.
Yeah.
That was like the first time where he did a nice thing and it ended up just being a nice thing.
Yeah, like when Kung Pao was really trying to establish friendship, like, you know, trying to eat lunch with him, finding out what his favorite drink is, Artith immediately gives him a plate piled high with peppers and like, eat this. And it's just like at every turn, why do you have to be such an asshole? And it kind of almost made it to where if it wasn't for kind of the turn that things started to take after episode 10, I was like, why was I rooting for these two to get together? Because this guy's an asshole.
Yeah, I had a hard time watching the first few episodes because he is really mean and to a point where like the show was confusing the first few episodes to me because it kind of seems like they don't have to be there. Like it seems like why am I paying? Like I got into the school, I'm paying to go here, and you're gonna all bully me for like hours on end each day? Like no, the fuck you aren't. No, you aren't. What, you want me to just sit here and get bullied by you for an hour and a half? Why are any of
Yeah,
them?
I was Team Wad. When Team Wad was like, why the
Yeah,
fuck do I need to give you respect? Who are you? All you do is abuse me, eat my
yeah,
ass. Like, I was like, that's me.
yeah, yeah. And then they're like, leave. We don't even want you here. And he's like, you thought I wanted to be here?
Yeah, it was just very hard to see the forest for the trees. Like, obviously, there's like something in this story that we're supposed to hold on to, like, well, this is a kernel of his true kindness. But like, when you give people so much aggression right off the bat, I don't think it's a fair ask to expect them to see the value and the kindness that might be underlying that when you are so upfront with the aggression and the meanness.
Yeah, if you start giving people seizures and then you're just like, well, don't let it happen again. Yeah, it's hard for me to want to root for you for a minute. He gave her a seizure. They said a seizure.
Yeah. And they're like, well, it's your fault. You should have stopped if you could feel that coming on. It's like, sir, that's not how this works.
And he punished them. He said, you guys have to be here at 4 p.m. And they're like, we literally have class till like 4:15. And he's like, but you have to be here at 4. And it's like, what are they supposed to do? Should they all just leave class?
Yeah.
They're paying to be students. They're not paying to be bullied. Sorry,
Yeah. It
teacher, I have
was
to leave class because a third year told me to. Like, the fuck?
Yeah, I was not happy with that, and I was watching this and I'm like, it's nice that they cast a bunch of really slim, kind of athletic looking kids, because somebody like me, I would have been booted out of freshman orientation. I'm not going to be able to do 100 sits and stands. I'm not going to be
Oh
able
yeah.
to run tons of laps. And if you're going to punish me because physically I can't do it, then fuck, I'm out.
Oh yeah, you'd catch me at the dean's office being like, I need to know what in the school laws or contract or whatever states that I have to be a part of this. Will it
Yeah.
affect my degree if I'm not a part of this? No, then I'm not ever showing up.
Yeah, I mean, like, look at me. I can't physically do what they're asking me to do. I got fucking bad knees right now. Like, I'm sorry. Too bad. And so, yeah, I was just like, I don't know how this bled into romance. This makes no sense to me. And then, like, I think the final straw that broke the camel's back in terms of like the SOTUS system sucks. I cannot believe that this is something a school would allow to have happen. The capture the flag event, it wasn't like super dramatic in terms of like they weren't being abusive to the freshmen, but I remember thinking like, how the fuck is anybody supposed to figure this out when you don't even give them a clue?
Yeah.
Nothing. You're just like, capture the flag. We're gonna be standing up here. You gotta ask us if you can get to the next step. Figure it out. What? Because what if it wasn't SOTUS? And what if they didn't figure out what to do for each step? Then what? If they didn't get the flag by 7 p.m., would they just be considered not engineering students? Like, come
That's
on.
the thing. Like, if they don't complete this, how are they not engineering students? Like, I paid to be here. Am I just gonna get a refund? I better get a refund if you're kicking me out.
Yeah, it made no sense. And it just made it seem like this is just a really unhealthy, terrible environment. And the thing is,
Yeah.
like, not to bring it to a place where it's not supposed to go, but there's this idea that people have about disciplinarian tactics where they're like, I'm being hard with you to teach you a lesson. And once you've learned your lesson, then I can be soft with you. But but the thing is, that's not the message that the person you're disciplining gets. The message they get is like, you're somebody for me to be terrified of, and I have to walk on eggshells around you. And
Mhm.
whatever lesson you're trying to teach me, I'm not taking that because right now the lesson I'm learning is survival tactics.
Oh yeah, I had many a teacher like that in college who just would tear you down and be like, I'm doing it to help you. And it's like, I think some people do genuinely like gain something from that. But man, I had a teacher, we weren't taught, he like left field, off topic. I was talking to him about something completely different. So at school, we have to make short films each year, short animated films. So we write them, direct them, animate them. Like, I did everything on this movie. And you know what? It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. I still did everything. I was 19. Oh, well, kind of an interesting feat. He's like, by the way, I just wanted to tell you that I really hated your second year film. And after a few seconds, I just wanted to turn it off because I found nothing of value. And I was like, I don't understand how you expect me to respond to that statement. Like, thanks.
Yeah, like, do you
That's
want to
not,
fight?
that's
Is
not
that
even,
why you're telling me this?
that's not even criticism. You just told me you hated it. Like, what? Like, you didn't tell me why you thought it was lackluster. You just told me you thought it was lackluster.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's seriously a sat with me for years. Cause I'm like, why the fuck would he say that? What the fuck?
Yeah, it's like you're not giving me anything to work with here. All you're giving me is the absolute worst. And all it makes me want to do is avoid you. So whatever it
Oh,
is you
yeah.
thought I was going to hang around and learn from you, I'm not. I'm going to enact my survival tactics and I'm going to steer clear of you.
Yeah, I didn't meet up with him after that. I met up with him to talk about art. And then I was like, yeah, I don't feel like you're gonna help me in any way. So
Mm.
I didn't. Yeah, I've had so many teachers like that. I had a teacher, she told a classmate, like, oh, you'll never be a director. You see person over there, they'll be a director. You'll never be one. Like, what is with people? What is with people? This show is very triggering the first 3 episodes. I had a very hard time. Sorry, I've been bullied a lot. So I was like, my fight or flight was like really intense for all of them. I was like, run,
Yeah.
leave.
I'm not laughing at your trauma. I'm
No,
laughing at the fact that you're just like, I don't know why I'm here.
no. Seriously, my fight or flight was on.
But yeah, like that's the thing. And I think the only kind of saving grace or like light at the end of the tunnel is that Kong Pop did confront about the fact that like we're not getting what you're trying to give
Uh-huh.
because of the way it's presented. And then when he became the head hazer, he enacted a different policy and he enacted a different way of doing things.
Right.
And I appreciate that it's almost like they acknowledge at the end this system was bad and this is how it needs to be corrected.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. But like going through 7, 8, 9 episodes of bullshit was not fun.
Which brings me to one of my biggest complaints of the show is I feel like GMMTV learned that 15 episodes is too long.
Yes.
This should have been 12 at the most, 10, but 10. We're talking about one couple here for the most part. This could have been 10 episodes.
Yeah, that was the thing. And we talked about this amongst ourselves before filming is there is one couple that is hinted at as a secondary couple and it's Prim and Wad, but like there's no smoke there. It literally is
No.
like you were an asshole to me, you helped me out in a fight, and now we're friends.
Yes, it's very like if this, like, people are making it gay to make it gay, but like there's not a lot of actual evidence for it. Just like they're friends, I guess, now. And
Yes,
apparently in
but
this show, if you've ever hated someone and then started to not hate them, you immediately are gonna fuck them.
yeah, this is like the farthest of reaches. And then like May and M, he likes her, she doesn't like him, and they end the show with like, can we at least still be friends? That's it. They don't get together until the end of SOTUS S.
Yeah, years later.
Yeah, and even at the end of SOTUS S, they get together, and then in our sky, he leaves to go to school in the US. So I mean,
Also, like, no shade to May, but was she really hung up on Kong Pop for like 2 years?
I
Like,
don't
he had a
understand.
crush for like 2 weeks and he told her no pretty quickly. Like, the show doesn't encompass a huge amount of time. It's like a couple weeks, I think.
Yeah, so like Kong Pab and Artith get together towards, I guess, the end of the first semester of his freshman year, I'm
Yeah.
assuming. And he tells May before he and Archie get together, like, I'm not interested in you, I like somebody else.
Yeah.
Then by the end of orientation, that's when she finds out that he and Archie are together, they're dating. And then we begin SOTUS S at the beginning of Artith, May, and M's third year, because Artith is now a hazer. He's a junior. They met as freshmen.
Right.
Why did you wait so long to give M the high sign?
I don't know. And I don't know why he waited for 2 years.
I don't know either, because like Nui may be a trash person, but he's not unattractive.
Right.
But he's a dumpster. Okay, let me talk about Nui real quick before we move on to good stuff. The actress who plays Prey, our pair in the show, she's the son of the engineering department. She was in a show with Nu, and the show that she was in a GMM TV show called Tonhon Chonlati. We've already talked about that show before. And he made a statement to somebody saying she's prettier than an AV actress. Now, for those of you who don't know what an AV actress is, it's a Japanese actress, and the A stands for adult and the V stands for video. So basically, he said she's prettier than a porn star.
Uh-huh.
Which, what the actual fuck do you even mean?
If someone said that to me, I don't think I know how to react.
What?
Like
Is that supposed to be a compliment, an insult? What?
Both.
Yeah. So, I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being involved with porn or sex work. That's not what I'm implying at all. What I'm saying is it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. So that's why it's just like, why would you even say that? Because what does that actually even mean?
Yeah. Didn't he get into another scandal months ago or last year?
He had like all of his stuff pile up on him. He was telling somebody in a live chat, like, oh, I have an IQ of 20. And then he did like the DER symbol, like with his hands and face. And people were like, oh, interesting, you're making fun of people with intellectual disabilities. And he's like, that's not true. I support charities and people know that I'm really kind to those folks. And people were like, that's just say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Just say I'm sorry. So yeah, he was like super defensive. And so now people are like, I'm not a big fan of Nui. Chris had, in addition to the "Are you gay?" No, he also had a moment where he and Singto were on a live, and they had this filter that kind of blurred out Singto's face, and Singto said, "I look like a rape victim."
Yeah.
And Chris was like, "Yeah, and I look like the guy who raped you." And they start talking about how, like, on news programs, the rape victim will be blurred and the aggressor will show his face clearly. And he's like, I should be crying right now. And then Singto says, no, I'm the one who got raped. I should be crying. It was just such a weird,
Interaction.
horrible, useless conversation.
Yeah.
And Singto apologized. Chris actually went back later on and he apologized. And I think sometimes bias is the reason why we give Singto more room than Chris.
Right.
Because absolutely, like, Singto is the one who actually started the conversation about rape victims. Like, it was him. So we need to be very clear. He owns more than an equal share of this blame. But that paired with the fact that Chris had such a strong reaction to being asked if he was gay, people were more than ready to throw Chris under the bus and not give any kind of credence to the fact that, like, that was a very misogynistic conversation. But to be clear, a lot of BL fans, a lot of people in general, are more likely to be upset about homophobia than about misogyny.
Yeah.
Which, as a woman, love that.
Mm-hmm. And it's usually female fans too, which is interesting.
Yes. They're like, listen, we ship Pariah, and we're not going to have you talk bad about the gays. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you hate women, that's fine, because I want you and Singto to be a real couple. Like, come on, girl. Come on. Get it together.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we should start talking about things we like, unless you have one more thing that you really dislike that you want to talk about. I'm surprised you haven't said anything about the production value, because I know you had big problems with that.
Oh, I mean, I guess I don't have much to say other than it was clearly low budget. There's definitely a lot of scenes where you can tell people just aren't mic'd. And so their voices are just like them shouting in an echoey room over each other. And sometimes I found that very distracting, that like sometimes you could tell that they were mic'd and the audio was okay. Other times, they didn't even have like a boom mic. They just set up a camera, started filming with no mics.
Yeah. So things I like about the show. I love director Lit. Lit is the director for SOTUS 1. He helped work on the screenplay, and I think he did some assistant directing for SOTUS S and for Our Sky, but he also went on to be the director of My Engineer. And I really like the way that he told the story. Yes, the story was a little bit long in the tooth, not gonna lie. And he has a tendency to kind of save all the best bits for last, as he did with My Engineer, kind of.
Mm,
But he does a really good job of establishing tenderness in a lot of ways.
mhm.
And if you're looking for a boys' love that really is more about relationship development rather than like maybe steamy or intimate scenes, he's very good at that.
Yes.
And so it was nice to see kind of the reason why we were so excited to see My Engineer, because I was thinking about the fact that, like, even though this thing drug its ass, I still did look forward to when they got together. And by the time we got to Our Sky, I was like, I really do like these two, even though in real life, maybe not so much. In terms of like their scene on the bridge and just kind of the way that they kind of look out for one another,
Mhm.
I like that about them.
Yeah.
And you get the feeling like they feel holes for one another. And
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of these BLs, they don't establish what it is about each other that they're attracted to, or what it is about each other that would make them work.
Yes. Is very much they are attracted to the person. And they say that with the whole, I'm not gay, I'm just into him. But at least they follow through with that and showing us that they do really like each other as people first.
Yeah, like Kong Pop, one of his big things is he's like, I want to know you better than anybody else knows you. And
Uh-huh.
so he takes time to like, so do you like anything else besides pink milk? Oh, what's your favorite thing to eat?
Mhm.
Arctic on the same thing, even before he establishes that he likes Kong Pop Bap, he's like, I noticed that you only eat bland foods. Like
Mhm.
they really are paying attention to one another.
Yes. And they try to, and they make each other grow. Like, I know you were like, it maybe wasn't your favorite thing, but I do kind of like that he switched the foods and he's like, you're going to try something different today.
Mhm.
Other
Even though
than,
you're gonna go right back to clear soup with noodles and
yeah.
meatballs.
Kong Pop takes a fiery dump and then plain rice for dinner.
Yeah. So I mean, I do like that about them. I like the caring. I like the fact that like Kung Pao understood that he couldn't force Artith to like him back. And when he felt like Artith was like pushing him away, he gave him space. But
Yeah.
at the same time, he also established with Artith, I'm not a doormat. Like when they got to the episode where they were at the wedding and
Hmm.
Artith was kind of like, hey, how are you doing? He's like, bro, what do you want? Because he had to stop with him, like, I really tried to talk to you and you couldn't give me the time of day. And then when we had a conversation where I was letting you know how I feel, you hung up on me. So, like, really and truly, what do we have to talk about here?
Yeah. And then even in SOTUS S, I mean, the point of contention is Artit doesn't totally want to come out, and Singto's like, yeah, we've been in this for 2 years. I need more. I need more.
Yeah. Like one of the things that I found incredulous about Sodas S is that at this point they've been together since Singto was a freshman or Kongkwap was a freshman, and he's now a third year. There's this huge conflict in Sodas S where Chris, his character Arctic, gets a job at a manufacturing plant, and they find out that one of the employees there has been embezzling funds, and they ended up producing a product that like literally falls apart. Like it is just shitty made, and if they don't remake all of these items, they're going to lose this huge contract. So he ends up going to one of their suppliers and be like, hey, can you make this for us? He finds out that that supplier is actually Kong Pop's family.
Hmm.
And he did not know that prior to that moment. And I remember thinking, like, how have y'all been together for this long, yet and still you didn't know your boyfriend's parents at all, who his family was at all? Y'all never
Right.
talked about this?
It's like the things that they want to know about each other sometimes are not the big picture stuff. And it's like, you got to know some of the big picture stuff, you
Yeah,
know?
like, do you know this man's last name? Come
Yeah.
on, y'all.
Yeah. Like, I'm glad you know that he doesn't like spicy food, but like, what is his, yeah. What's his last
So yeah, I was like, and obviously, not to say it, but you can tell that there was a different director in SOTUS S,
name? Hmm.
because like it definitely, the plot was very much, it had a lot more action than SOTUS S, the plot did, but
Hmm.
like the knowing each other, it's like they restarted their relationship or something. And Arctic, in my opinion, was a lot meaner in SOTUS S in many ways than he was in SOTUS. Because
Hmm.
initially he was kind of grappling with the fact that like he's the head hazer and he's trying to be a disciplinarian and he sees Kung Pao as being kind of a troublemaker. But then later on, he realizes Kung Pao's not a troublemaker. It's just that I respond to him so much because I'm developing feelings for him.
Hmm.
And so it really was watching a person's feelings change. But then by the time they get to the beginning of SOTUS S, they are in a relationship. They're at this point having sex, they're sleeping together, like overnight, like that kind of thing. But he's still uncomfortable letting the world know that this is his boyfriend. And you'd think that after 2.5, almost 3 years, you'd give it up by now and
Right.
you'd be willing to let the world know this is your man. And that was just, if I think if director Lit had been in charge of SOTUS S, there would have been a very different dynamic in that relationship explored.
Yes.
Yeah, like you can almost skip SOTUS S except for maybe a couple of scenes and go straight from SOTUS to Our Sky.
Yeah. Because it's kind of more of the same of our tip basically goes through the same journey in all three of those things. It's
Mm.
basically, can I accept myself and allow the people around me to know about my relationship? That's what SOTUS is about. That's what SOTUS S is about. Our Sky follows similar.
Yeah, except for Our Sky, there's not as much do people know our relationship. It's can I keep my relationship going if we don't live together?
That's true. I guess I'm thinking of stuff like the airport scene or just like in general, there's like they'll be like affectionate in front of friends, but like in public, our tit is still very much like no, no homo, you know?
Yeah, which I'm not even going to be mad at that because I am that person in public. Like, I was married to a man, we had a child together. I would not let him hold my hand in public because I was just like, ew, gross. I'm that person. I'm sorry. Like, turn off the lights, close the door, and I'll do whatever acrobatics you want to do. But in public, act like you were my brother. Yeah, I don't like PDA in any way, shape, or form. Grosses me the hell out.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's just me. I am a woman of extremes.
That's true. You very seldom have no opinion on a thing.
Yeah. I'm just like whole hog, or I'm just like, fuck that shit. So yeah. And I'm very much like that in relationships. Like, don't pet my ass, don't try to kiss me in public, don't try to hold my hand. Like, if you could please maintain social distancing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please follow 6 feet behind me at all times.
Yeah, are you wearing your mask? Good, because I don't want to breathe your same air. Like, I'm just not that person, but I get that with artists. But yeah, it's also weird too because he's the one who's like, people are looking, but at the same time, he's the one who kisses Kong Pop at the airport.
I think I see that as like his being like, you know what? Yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah, I guess so. But I will say, like, overall, I do enjoy them as a couple. Also, just something to ruin everyone in the audience who's familiar with K-pop. Uh, Artist looks like Amber from FX. There you go. Have a great day.
He does. And May looks like Jian from Tiara.
Girl, okay. I was watching the show and I was thinking to myself, why is May giving me Carolyn vibes?
Oh, I see it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Carolyn is a buddy of ours, Juan Haid on the YouTubes. We've
Yes.
all known each other.
Very big unboxer on YouTube, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, she does kind of look like her. And they both, I feel like personality wise, they kind of overlap. Just like very nice, very bubbly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Gion mixed with Carolyn.
Yeah.
Like the face shape and hair, Carolyn, eyes, Gion.
Yeah. And like very much like studious, serious student, nice girl, but
Mhm.
just kind of has like a couple of moments of shyness.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's a good pick. And he does look like Amber. Ugh.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, the first time I watched it, I'm like, who does he look like? And I could not come up with any man that he looked like. And then when SOTUS S came around, I'm like, oh my God, I know who he looks like. And yeah, he fucking looks like Amber from FX.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, what else was good about this show?
Pink Milk.
Oh, Pink Milk.
So this was one of the first shows that we watched where we were like, I need to go to a Thai restaurant because I'm invested.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I was very much like, when can I eat all of this?
yeah, like I mean the pink milk, the Thai basil rice, the omelets, the clear soup with the meatballs. I wanted every fucking thing. Give it to me now. I mean, even to the point that like when I was watching Kong Pop and Our Sky try to learn how to cook a steamed egg, I was like, I wonder if I could make
You're like, I'm taking notes.
that. Yeah, and like we had never really noticed a lot of food stuffs. And after watching this, like food is all I can pay attention to sometimes in certain shows. Like until we meet again, let's be very clear. The main couple in that show was Fluke in that damn kitchen.
Oh yeah, I want to try all those desserts. They look so tasty.
Oh yeah, like I was like, that is the real ship right there. Is him in that fucking kitchen because he tears it up.
Mm.
And so yeah, I really remember watching this and for the first time being like, I'd like to try that at home. I would like to go out and purchase that. And I think it's something that we really don't talk about enough when it comes to cultural immersion, but sometimes it can be really intimidating getting to know other cultures because first there's the language barrier and then there's also like the way that people live their lives that are a little bit different. Like stuff that we consider maybe rude in the United States is acceptable in other countries, and what other countries consider rude, we're like, that's just how people are where I'm from.
Right.
And so one of the things that kind of never gets caught in the cultural crosshairs of like, is this acceptable or not, tends to be food. Food is one of those things that like, if I want to get to know a place, I can get to know their plates.
Yeah.
And that is one of the things about Thailand that like their food in so many ways, it hits your eye before it even hits your tongue. Like it
Mhm.
just looks super fucking interesting. And so I was really glad to remember kind of my first taste of, ooh, what's that?
Mhm.
Because it's been a while since we watched a show where the food was something that I envied or something that I really wanted to try out.
Right.
Yeah. So I like that a lot.
I do too.
And I also thought that the sponsorship food was done really well in this show. We have watched some shows where these sponsorships are so fucking heavy handed, it's impossible to watch.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking Love by Chance season 2.
Hmm.
I mean, literally whole scenes built around the sponsorships.
Right.
Whereas this show right here, yes, it was very clear that they had a sponsorship for their drinks and a sponsorship for the seaweed strips. But
Uh-huh.
other than that, like they didn't really stand out. And even like the seafood strips would be like, hey, we're on a trip. I bought some snacks for the trip. You want some of these seafood strips? And that'd be
Yeah.
it. So I thought that was very tastefully done.
Agreed. Tastefully done. I mean, Singto, in terms of acting, Singto is always bringing it. Um, he has great chemistry with everyone that he's with. I think that truly might be a strength as an actor. It's like he's worked with so many different pairings and partners, and he always feels invested as an actor in each one.
Yeah, like I don't know anything about Singto's personal life, and I'm not even gonna pretend to assume, but it feels like he like coaches himself before he begins a role to be like, I need to get to know who my co-star is because I'm gonna make myself fall in love with them before we get on camera.
Right.
And you really feel like you're watching him fall in love with these people. And we've watched it over and over again. In He's Coming to Me, we watched him fall in love with Ohm.
Yeah.
In Friend Zone, I watched him be a part of a really committed relationship and watch him fall apart when he realizes that his long-term partner has been cheating on him with his best friend. And so like he just does a really good job of being invested in whoever he's paired with.
Yeah.
And I can't say the same about Chris because, like I said, all of the other shows have been straight shows, so I haven't really paid attention. But that is a strength that Singto has that very few other people in BL or in even straight media have. Because I've watched other actors who have done BL with certain pairings be in other shows and not really have that same connection. Like there's only one other person in BL, honestly, who I feel can compete with Singto in terms of having chemistry, and that's Om Pawat. Like that man has chemistry with trees.
Mm-hmm. Or the two, I will say, the two leads from I Told Sunset About You.
Oh yes, those two.
Mhm.
Oh my god, I've never seen them work with anybody else though, so that's why I will reserve that for
That's
another time.
true, but I feel like their acting was so good in that in both seasons where I'm like, yeah, I feel like y'all are just good actors.
Yeah, I will say Billiken does fall in love with another character in the show. And so you do see him like fall in love with someone outside of his relationship.
Uh-huh.
And it's very believable watching him transfer those emotions. So I guess I could see him in other pairings for sure. But PP Crit, like, I don't know, man. He just seems so very in love that it's just like, I don't even know if I want to see you with anybody else.
Harry is like, so when are y'all getting married for real?
Yeah, yeah, because they're just really. Uh, I'll say it once. I'll say it again. It's not about the makeout scenes. It literally is about the small touches.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about the way that those two touch each other that it's just like, my God, are you married already? And you just don't want to tell anybody because you're trying to pursue your acting careers because
Right?
it feels like you guys have been around each other forever and you're ultra familiar with each other's bodies and body language.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how we got to talking about those two, but I could wax on forever about that. But yeah, Singto, he does a really good job of being invested in his partners. And Artist, I guess it's good that Artist's character is supposed to be a bit standoffish because if he wasn't written that way, but that was the way that Chris was playing him, he just does come across as very awkward. Now, granted, this was Chris' first acting role.
Mm-hmm.
First, which that's very intimidating. Your first acting role is as a lead character. But yeah, he just comes across as like uncomfortable in his skin.
I in some ways find that okay because it works for the character that's written.
Mm-hmm.
Because this character is uncomfortable in his own skin, pretty much till the end of Our Sky. And I feel like he does become a lot better as the show goes on, especially in season 2 and in Our Sky. In Our Sky, in my opinion, I thought he was really good. I mentioned it earlier, that bridge on the scene, he looked like he was crying real tears. Like he was really going for it. He was like, this is the last time I'm doing this fucking gay shit. Let me just, fine, I'll just go for it once. And he did it once. And I was like, okay, that was good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Also, like, not for nothing, Singto, I don't know if it's just because you feel like you have an ugly cry or not, but like when you walked away from the bridge, you didn't seem that torn up. And I was like, is everything okay? Like, are you swallowing the feelings and that's the reason why you're not really emotional? Or
Maybe. I mean, he did say at the airport when he pulls out the rings, he's like, I knew you were going to show up. Like, no doubt about it. You were going to show up.
yeah, he's just like, oh, my boyfriend's so dramatic. Like, I don't know. Like he just
I
seems
think that's what it
very
was.
unique.
He's like, drama queen's acting up again. Because Artin is a drama queen.
Yes, very much so. Like he goes from like, I'm so happy my boyfriend got this scholarship to like, oh my God, he's leaving for another country. I have to burn our relationship to the ground.
He's like, I listened to a lot of Adele this week.
He's on man, fucking Adele.
My last night with you.
Hold me like a mother
That's different. What a great song.
It is, and I told you it was a great song.
You told me, you were right. I never listened to more than just like a couple of Adele singles. So
I'm telling you, man. Again, side tangent, but we're letting you in on the behind the scenes. There are certain songs that I swear they sparkle like fucking diamonds, and no one seemed to notice them until many, many years later. Or sometimes you're lucky, sometimes it's like a week or two, and people are like, oh yeah, that song really slaps. But there are certain songs that like you will go to your grave being like, I'm upset because there was never any justice for this song.
Me with Free Somebody. Free Somebody is one of the best songs that SM has ever put out, period. We've talked about
Absolutely.
Free
Like
Somebody.
just the fucking chorus of that song alone is like gay pride every summer. That song should be the opener.
Oh yeah. Every time I see a tweet by JoJo, I have to go and listen to Free Somebody because I'm like, you gave us so much, JoJo. You gave us so much.
Yes, you've been giving since you were 14 years old, and babe, I see it.
Yeah.
I want to hear JoJo do an English cover of it, like at her concert. Like I would be the only K-pop fan in the audience, like, do Free Somebody.
I'll go with you. We'll get signs.
I'm telling you, it's such a great song. It's such a great song. But yeah, that I just want to free somebody. Like, how do you not love that? You know what? I really am convinced if Taeyeon was the one who sang it instead of Luna, it would have skyrocketed.
It would have been one of the best summer songs. Period. Also, Tan was probably the better choice to sing it, if we're going to be honest.
Could have been, but I'm just going to say it is because Luna has all the personality of a salamander.
She's a great vocalist. She just doesn't, and her voice fits the song, but she doesn't add to it in any way. You know?
Yeah, she doesn't have charm.
And it was also, yeah. And it was also that summer where SM was like pumping shit out left, right, and next to each other. And they gave like 5 days of promo. There wasn't even like an article like Luna is preparing a solo. I went on Twitter one day and boom, Luna has a solo coming up. And it's like, oh.
I remember that month so well because classics came out from SM that month. It was Boa's Kiss My Lips. It was Jonghyun's, Boa's Kiss My Lips came out with that one.
No,
it was number 8.
2015. Kiss My Lips is 2015. This was 2016. It was Jonghyun's She Is. It was Taeyeon's Why.
It was She Is, Why. It was Tiffany's I Just Want to Dance and Luna's Somebody. And I was like, y'all skipped a whole bunch of stuff trying to get to wherever the fuck y'all were going. Because I think like at the end of that whole thing was EXO was like the big draw. Yeah, it was Coco Pop at the end of all that. So they like released one of Jonghyun's best albums.
Mm-hmm.
They released Tiffany's best album. They released
period.
Yeah.
And never. Oh my God, Talk. What a good song. Talk about a gem no one talks about. I wanna talk to you.
Nobody talks about What Do I Do and how good it was both in Korean and in English.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm sorry. Back to SOTUS.
Yeah, Artit's acting did get better.
Yeah, it did get better.
Else was serviceable, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I've just seen worse acting in BL, so I'm like, this is fine. I'm not too bothered by any of you.
I'm not upset that the rest of the actors weren't great, only because if they had been wonderful and Chris had been kind of as awkward as he was, then we wouldn't have liked his character as much. But it made it to where it felt like he fit into this world.
Yes. Oh, one complaint, small one. I hate that kid's bowl cut. I'm sorry. It's I know they're
Oh
making it
yeah.
nerdy, not the bowl cut. It was too much.
Okay, so Kong Pop's friends in the freshman class, that one kid with the glasses and the bowl cut, why are you friends with him? He comes up with nothing but bad ideas. Every single time he suggests anything at all, it never works. He is the worst. Why are y'all friends with him?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't like him. Also, like, not for nothing, we were talking about how like the bullying from the hazing team, but how awful was it that artists made Kong Pop get in front of the cafeteria and scream, I like men, I like men, I like men, and then have to go up to random men in the cafeteria and ask them for dates.
Yeah, the all the hazing stuff was
That to me was particularly bad because prior to that, they were like telling the freshman girls, like, yeah, you can have my signature if you give me your number. Like it went beyond kind of hazing to like very personal attacks initially.
right.
And I'm like, this is bad. I don't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
And
what's
so
the point of getting 1,000 signatures? I'm not gonna remember any of you people. Is it?
no, not at all.
I'm not gonna fucking remember you.
1,000. Like I was trying to do the math on that. I'm like, okay, let's just say they have all 7 days to do it. That's still like over 100 signatures per day.
Oh my.
How would you have time to do that and go to class and go to freshman orientation and go to sleep?
Also, what the fuck was Prem on about when he was mad that Wad didn't greet him? Like, Wad has his ear pods in. He is just going about his day. He is going to class. And Prem is like, you didn't greet me when you passed me in the hallway. Like, what am I supposed to do? Greet and bow to you every time I see an upperclassman, all 1,000 of you?
Yeah.
I'd
And
never
like,
get anywhere. You'd get nowhere because you'd be constantly just greeting your upperclassmen.
yeah. And also, like, you didn't say anything to me. So, like,
Yeah.
we didn't make eye contact. I didn't see you.
Yeah. If we don't make eye contact, I'm not saying hi.
Yeah. So, get the fuck out of here. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, SOTUS, I wouldn't say that you have to go back and watch SOTUS in order to enjoy BL as it currently exists. But
Right.
if you wanted to go back and watch it, I would say you could skip around and maybe just only make sure to pay attention to the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Because 13, 14, and 15 really are kind of like the feel good portions of this entire series. The rest of the series, you can have. I don't really care. Oh, side note, why the fuck does Artith have a Charles Manson poster on his door in his dorm room?
I don't know. His German was weird because it was like very like he's into American things. And as an American, we don't get that a lot.
Yeah, like very much like I am into hard rock and heavy metal, which I'm like, that's fine. But why the fuck do you have a picture of Charles Manson on your door? Like,
They probably
from what I understand, he wasn't that popular a musician. So why?
it might have just thought it was a cool poster.
I guess it was bizarre.
Yeah. I give the show a 7 out of 10. It gave us a lot. It doesn't hold up the way I thought it would. I definitely, if this is like your first BL show, I can see why you'd love it. Again, it was one of mine. So, of course, I liked it a lot at the time. But yeah, going back and after seeing a bunch more BL, I'm like, no, there's better offerings now. We can leave this one behind.
I give the show a 6.5. I give SOTUS S a 7. I give R Sky an 8.
That's fair. All right.
Okay, so I don't have an Instagram of the day, but only because I have given out just about every single Instagram related to this show. So I just don't have because it's already been done before. So just in case you're wondering, like literally Singto, if you type in Singto, he's going to be your first search result because he's so big. You type in Christ and he's going to come up too because he's so big. So if you are already following BL actors, if you type in either of their names in the search for Instagram, you're going to find them because they have many, many millions of followers.
Right. So I do have a manga of the week for the first time in a while, and it is called Black and White. It is published by Sublime, and it is story and art by Sachimo. I'll read the back. Shin is a brand new actor, unfairly typecast as a villain, and Shige, his secret lover since college, is a rising star who often gets the role of the heartthrob good guy. With Shige's popularity on the rise and Shin's awkward personality making him resemble the villains he plays, the two can't seem to risk being seen together for fear of tainting Shige's image. And to complicate matters further, their relationship has lacked physical intimacy since their disastrous first time together. Every good role needs its conflict, but will this couple call it a wrap when they suddenly find themselves in the spotlight? So this is really good and very interesting. It all because it's about two actors who they've been dating since college. They've been dating since before either of them ever got famous, and how they both dreamed to be actors, but girl, this is Japan. Like, male couples have a hard time even finding apartments in Japan at times because people are like, oh, we don't want to house a gay couple, you know? So it's a very interesting read. I really liked the first volume. The characters are nice. The drawings were pretty good. I have some qualms with the drawing. I feel like the way that this person draws profiles bothers me very much because they don't draw like this, like they don't draw enough dimension to the skull. These are fairly realistic proportions, yet when they're turned to the profile, their like skull is very like, it goes back like this, and they have it go down like this. And it's just not the right head shape. They don't draw the head shape right, and it bothers me. Sorry to nitpick. But it's solid. It's volume 1 of question mark. So I don't know what's gonna happen next. This like literally just came out. I just saw it as a new release at Kinokuniya. So yeah, it does have explicit content. So yes. But yeah, it's good. I like it.
Awesome. So we're gonna talk to you guys real quick. I didn't have a Samantha's rant because literally this whole SOTUS conversation was my rant. We're gonna talk to you about our show. Yeah. So we love talking about BL. It's a lot of fun, but there just really hasn't been a lot of BL that we have felt has suited for conversation in this format. And don't get me wrong, we don't normally even have the time to watch every single BL that comes out. So I'm sure there's stuff that has come out that's really, really good that we just haven't had a chance to watch. But normally we wait till a series is over to be able to watch it. And we really rely on kind of word of mouth to let us know which series is worth our time. And recently with word of mouth, there's been very little that has been worth our time. So we've been reaching back into the archives for things to watch, for things to talk about, and even the archive is starting to run dry. So the next show that we're probably going to end up talking about that's a BL show, there's a show on Viki called like The Man Who Defied the BL World. It's Japanese BL. It's really, really quick to watch, but it's basically about this guy who exists in a Japanese BL comic book world. And he spends all of his time trying to avoid being in a couple. And so he like identifies every trope that you see in a BL manga. And it's like, okay, this is how you sidestep becoming a main character until finally he realizes that he actually is going to be in a couple himself. So
essentially, Why Are You, but done the way they said it was going to be done.
Exactly. And I've already watched it, so I know it's good, but that's probably going to be the next thing we talk about. But after that, we're going to probably do some different things with our show. And we've molded over a little bit. We haven't come to any concrete decisions about what we're going to do, but we're probably going to spend a little bit more time talking about music because as you can tell from this conversation and the conversation we did with Little Nas X's Montero, we actually really like music quite a bit. And whenever Mason's not on here talking about BL with me, he's on here smoking and talking about music that he's purchasing. So it is something that's very close to both of our hearts to be able to sit and talk about music together. So I hope that you guys will join us in that. I hope it's something that you'd be interested in. And if you're not, that's fine. That's cool. But one thing that we're never gonna do is we're never gonna just talk to you guys about shit just to get you guys to watch the channel or to watch the show. We're going to talk about stuff that we want to talk about. And we do that because if we're not sincere about our opinions, our emotions, our interest in stuff, this is a hard show to watch. Much like when you're watching an actor who doesn't want to be a part of a show, it becomes a long show to watch because you can tell that that actor too doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
So hopefully, however we decide to do things, whatever direction we decide to go, you'll please join us because we're not giving up on BL. Far from it.
No.
We're just going to be looking at some different things. And we hope that you'll enjoy those different things with us.
And those different things, when they come, they'll be probably under a different moniker. It would be foolish to do, talk about Madonna and have it be called Busy Thinking About Boys Love. Like, no, we're talking about Madonna. It'd probably be called something totally different. So just think of it as, if you've noticed that our Boys Love upload schedule has been sporadic, just know that we've decided to start working on some new series as well. And this was, I'll be honest, this was brought on by me because I was feeling like there's not a lot of Boys Love. What if we talked about something different? So we'll see what happens. I mean, it'll probably just be whatever Sam and I feel like talking about. It truly will just be whatever we feel like talking about. So
yeah, but we will try to let you know ahead of time what the next BL thing will be. The Man Who Defied BL World is probably next, but
yeah.
This Friday was the premiere of Bad Buddies, which is the new show with Om Pawat. And you guys know I love Om Pawat. So when that finishes up, we might end up talking about it. There are a few more stories that are currently airing that if reviews are good, we might go back and talk about them. But yeah, like, I don't know if it's just because quarantine is over. It really does feel like either the market has become oversaturated by companies that don't have the money to give us good stuff, or the good stuff, because of COVID regulations, is taking so long to get produced that we're dealing with the stuff that's being made for the cheapest amount of money with the least amount of effort.
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, we're still waiting on, they're taking a long time with the Until We Meet Again spinoff and My Engineer season 2. So I'm hoping that those will come out and kind of revive some interest a bit, put a pulse back into the boys love industry.
Even Love Mechanics, which we both talked about on this channel as being like basura, hot garbage. For some reason, the second series in Love Mechanics did really, really well. Yeah. And they were going to make a whole show of it. And that's been super delayed.
Yeah. So we'll see if that ends up being good. I mean, Wabi Sabi's made good stuff before, so it's not out of the question. Oh, that first one, though, was hot garbage.
The director for Love Mechanics, the extended series, is the director of My Engineer.
Okay.
TV. So I'm hoping for good things, but the rape.
Also, I really hope he's doing My Engineer first.
Yeah. My Engineers had some struggles, not gonna lie. Ryan, the Chinese actor, he's not going to be a part of the next season. And then MD, who played the doctor in My Engineer, he's not going to be a part of it either because he left the acting company, I guess.
Oh,
and yeah, that's the reason why we were able to see him in Manner of Death. So his couple either will have a different actor or they might decide not to explore that couple at all.
That's sad. I like them.
Yeah, I mean, we're still here for basically Lay and Perth.
Okay, I need to see Ram King. Okay.
Yeah, Ram King is what most of us are here for, but we were wanting to see kind of what happened with the business major and the doctor. But yeah, a lot of challenges, and My Engineer had a lot of challenges just to get on. So I'm just worried that maybe it's too much and they're just going to leave it alone.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, everyone. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed our long awaited SOTUS review, and I hope you enjoy what we have coming up next.